Hi, my name is Chan, and I've been suffering from anxiety and panic attacks for 7 years and overcame this in just 4 sessions with Chris. Before I started therapy with Chris, my anxiety would come and go, and I'd have stretches where I felt really good, but then I'd have stretches where it took just everything in me to hold it together. I was in one of those really bad stretches when I found Chris. I had just gone to the A&E at NUS Hospital again for a panic attack the morning of our first appointment. I felt like I was on the verge of mental collapse, and even the slightest bit of pressure would push me over the edge. I was feeling lightheaded and dizzy the whole day, and my heart was beating out of my chest, and I was so anxious that I couldn't sit still. But the worst part of it was that I felt like there was no way out, and I would just have to go through the rest of my life feeling that way. Now, the reason I'm going into so much detail about how I was before I started my sessions at Stress.SG is because of the impressive transformation that I've gone through after seeing Chris. It actually took me more sessions than most of the other reviewers, but I can confidently say that after 4 sessions, I went from being completely hopeless and on the brink of complete mental breakdown to hopeful, calm, and collected. Now, I know that some of you reading Chris's 5-star reviews think that it all seems way too good to be true. So let me just share some of the changes that took place in my life during my first 4 sessions. Prior to my sessions, I would have a full-blown panic attack because I felt a little hot. My thoughts would spiral until I made myself believe there was something seriously wrong with me. Basically, anything related to my health or the health of my family was my biggest trigger. And I would inevitably end up having a nervous breakdown at the slightest sign of illness. But during my sessions with Chris, my son was actually hospitalized with an autoimmune condition, and I was able to handle the situation without once feeling excessively anxious. I didn't blow any of the information I was given out of proportion, and I was able to respond in a manner that was appropriate for the situation. And another interesting thing that I experienced is that I'm now able to convert anxious energy into excitement. I had to give a short presentation to a small group of people prior to my sessions, and I just got so nervous I couldn't focus or eat anything for the whole entire day. I think it has to do with the fact that I'm somewhat of an overachiever, and I put too much pressure on myself to be as outstanding as I possibly can. But Chris has taught me to let go of my perfectionism and just enjoy life. So instead of getting nervous, I get excited. I actually recently performed on stage in front of 800 people, and I enjoyed it. So nowadays, I don't feel constantly nervous, and I definitely don't carry that feeling of impending doom with me anymore. I actually feel genuinely happy without thinking that something is going to go wrong. I can say that my anxiety is functioning normally now, as in, I feel anxious because there's a reason to be anxious. And it doesn't spiral out of control anymore because I've learned how to control it. So you're probably wondering what the therapy sections are actually like. The best way to describe it would be that it's kind of like accelerated therapy, but in a super relaxed environment. Before I met Chris, I was seeing a psychologist in Korea for about a year and a half for my issues before I moved to Singapore. So naturally, I needed to find a local therapist to take over. I was surprised when Chris asked if I wanted to keep the anxiety or resolve it completely. I didn't even know that getting rid of my anxiety was even an option, but I took a leap of faith. And it only took Chris a couple of sessions to tackle what would have taken months in traditional therapy. For those of you who have been in therapy, you know that feeling of when you have a breakthrough. It usually happens every 2 or 3 sessions. Well, imagine having 10 of those breakthroughs in a single session. That's what it's like. And that's why these sessions with Chris are so effective. He gets to the root cause of your anxiety in the most efficient way possible. And that's why you come out of each session feeling 50% lighter each time. I know Chris's other clients have mentioned this improvement too, and it was true for me as well. As a therapist, Chris makes it very easy to talk about anything without making you feel like you're being judged. During our first consultation, I asked Chris why he thought he was so good at what he does. He gave me some roundabout answer and he was trying to be modest, but I think I figured it out. It's because he's patient, persistent, and has a natural ability to make you see things from a different perspective. He's very effective at helping you interpret events from a different angle. And he'll wait and listen patiently until you come around. And he won't stop until you do. But one of the main reasons Chris is so effective is that he's able to tackle multiple issues at the same time, which is why you'll be able to feel better in such a short period of time. I want to share some tips that can help you get the most out of your sessions with Chris. I recommend that you keep an open mind and talk about anything and everything that is bothering you. No issue or feeling is too trivial. If it's bothering you, talk to Chris about it. It took me a couple of sessions to completely let go and trust Chris. And I regret that it took me so long because I feel like I could have made more progress if I had opened myself up sooner. So I just want to let you know that if you're suffering and you're finding it hard to get through each day, I feel you. And there is hope. I truly hope that you'll be able to break free from your anxiety and enjoy life without any inhibitions with Chris's help.